This is the Super Earth Super Heavy Bomber. Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So we've got a ton to cover in this video. It's going to be beautiful. Johan is active over on Twitter. He is of course no longer the CEO, but he is the Chief Creative Officer. He is the guy once again just solely in charge of the game's design and development rather than the whole business kind of side. There's a new guy on board for that. And yeah, that's Shams, and he's been on board. And we've covered him in a previous video. Anyway, what we're going to do in this video is break a lot of stuff down. We've obviously got this Super Earth Heavy Bomber. We've got Johan asking for new stratagem ideas. And actually, I want you guys in the comments below to let me know what your new Eagle-1 Stratagem ideas could be. What kind of mad stuff do you think Eagle-1 could drop? And I'll also show you my awesome ideas. And I'll show you one idea as well, which I think is actually incredible. Also as well, Johan actually did a speech, a keynote speech, can I call this? I don't know, a presentation is probably the right word, at the Nordic Games Fest. There is a link to this in the video description below. This happened yesterday. I definitely highly recommend you go and watch that if you want to get into the minds of the people that made the game and what their core and key philosophies are. Because they're out here trying to make a game that's fun and make a game that becomes a hobby, but not actually make a game that is just some monetization hellhole because it's got the word live service attached to it, which is what every other major publisher does. It's a really good watch, and I'll show a little bit of it towards the end of this video, but it's a pretty long presentation. But yeah, go and check that out. There's a link in the video description below. Okay, with all that said, let's get stuck into this because this is going to be absolutely beautiful. So firstly, Johan, well, he addresses this because this is actually comedy gold in the extreme. I want to clarify my perspective on Arrowhead Games Studio goals. I meant the Blizzard I knew growing up, the Blackthorn, Warcraft, Starcraft, Diablo 1, and 2 days pre-2006. And then there is the gif of Obi-Wan Kenobi saying, before the dark times, before the Empire, obviously referring to when, well, you know, Activision Blizzard comes online and then Blizzard becomes about hyper monetization. And, you know, I will always maintain Overwatch was the final thing Blizzard have ever really done, which adhered to their old, I guess, ways of working. But even that game, you've got to remember, that was infiltrated with dodgy monetization when it launched. They sold you the game, then they had loot boxes in the game. And, you know, that at the time was a pretty big slap in the face. But anyway, we all know what happened to the monetization in that game. So, yeah, be under no illusion here. Johan doesn't want to become a game studio which just hyper monetizes you into oblivion and becomes known for various things you really don't want to be known for. It's about the old Blizzard. And again, if you watch the Nordic Games interview, which is linked in the video description below, or not interview, but the presentation, you'll kind of understand that what he's saying is they want to be this small sort of agile studio that are able to brainstorm ideas together and work on stuff and come up and create basically art, not just sitting there in a production house making the next pointless cosmetic in a battle pass. Yeah. This though, I mean, this did make me laugh. This Twitter user says, just avoid having a Cosby room and we'll all be golden. Now, I'm not going to explain what that is, but I'm sure you know what that is if you followed any of the Blizzard controversy. And if you haven't, Google it. You might actually get one of my videos if you Google it, but yeah, Google it. Johan says this, we'll instead have a Keanu Reeves room where everyone acts extremely decent. So let's get stuck into this. He just straight up says this on Twitter. Okay, give me your best Helldiver 2 Eagle Stratagem ideas. This user comes in and says, a heavy bomber carpet bomb with high cooldown would be sweet. The fighter jet dropping in like 3 autonomous mini-mechs that move around and help the fight would be neat. Fighter jet dropping a bomb that opens up and does a high-powered 360 laser spin like in Iron Man or Iron Man 2. And Johan replies with this, yes. Let's take a closer look at this. That's the Super Earth Heavy Bomber. Look at that. Or I guess the Super Earth Bomber. Yeah, that looks amazing. So I'm looking at this like, oh my god, this is actually concept art. This must be in the game, or they're looking at adding this to the game. Are we really going to be able to call in this absolutely massive bomber that can just completely level portions of the map? But actually, this is already in the game. As this Twitter user points out, or X user, whatever this platform is called now. The problem with it, I'll tell you what the problem with this platform is, guys. You tweet on it. You don't X on it, do you? So it will always be known as Twitter, and everyone will always get confused because when you make a post, you're tweeting, and you tell people you're tweeting because then they understand it's on Twitter. You know what I mean? It's insane. Anyway, this user says, I feel like I've seen pieces of this wrecked on the map. And yeah, let's just take a closer look at this image. And yeah, you do. Johan did actually reply to this as well and go, yeah, you know, you will. But yeah, you will see this when you play the game. It's not a common bit of debris, and it's also in different configurations every now and again. But they do have a model for this, and yeah, you will see it in and around the map. I guess it's been shot down or it's crashed. But yeah, it's in the game. Would be cool, though, if you could use it for a stratagem. This also kind of leads into the whole idea of using Pelican 1 as a stratagem, or even getting like some sort of attack gunship as a stratagem. There's a lot of different ideas for different types of stratagem delivery methods, which I think would be really cool. Also, the ion cannon from Command & Conquer would be sick. Imagine firing that down. I guess we kind of got that with the orbital laser, but I'm talking... If you guys play Command & Conquer, I'm not talking from the OG Command & Conquer like Tiberian Dawn. I'm talking from Command & Conquer 3. That ion cannon, yeah. It was like a nuclear bomb. It was insane. So this absolute idiot of a user says this. I'm a massive Command & Conquer fan. General Zero Hour had the Aurora supersonic bombers dropping fuel air bombs, although then this was subsequently nerfed, which is annoying. Anyway, you could also upgrade the stealth bomber general power from the fuel air bomb to the Moab, which is, of course, the mother of all bombs and literally the biggest non-nuclear explosion you could make. Basically, I want the Moab, but I will accept Eagle-1 fuel air bomb. This idiot pleb user also went on to clarify, okay, actually thinking about it, the E710 fuel air bomb, so the Element 710 fuel air bomb, spray the fuel over a wide area and then detonate it. I agree with this guy. I think he's onto something. This, though, would be insane. Tormented by Gnome says, Democratic Boombox that plays the Super Earth anthem and gives minor buffs to all players nearby until the song completes. That would be awesome. Can you imagine it like flying around? This is sort of giving me like visions of, well, you know, when you see like actually this takes me back to Battlefield Vietnam, 1940. No, Bad Company 2 Vietnam it was, which was DLC for that game, which was insane. But you could fly around in the Hueys and you could blast out like Ride of the Valkyries and like War, what is it good for, and all that stuff. Yeah, and it was inspirational to the troops, and it would make the enemy be shit scared that they're about to get annihilated. Yeah, doing that in this game would be so good. Can you imagine just flying? It would be great. But maybe you could add that to a Huey or transport helicopter style of stratagem instead. Anyway, this idiot user Stylosa's back, and he says, the tune is so democratic it converts the enemies to allies for its duration. This user comes in and goes, like, how about one that doesn't get nerfed once it gets popular? Johan says, for my next decree, I think all Eagle stratagems are to be piss awful. Have a bomb with a Helldiver attached to it, riding it like Major Kong. Johan says he loves that movie. Might not be the best idea, actually. Although, to be honest, you could do it in universe and say it's due to budget constraints, which they often do say about the Hell Bomb, the fact that it has to be manually detonated. Although Hell Bombs that have just been dropped and left on the map, you can shoot them and they explode. But anyway, it's because of budget constraints. We don't have remote detonation. So if you put the Helldiver on the bomb, it could become a guided bomb. The Helldiver does the guiding because of budget constraints. Kamikaze bomb? Oh, God. Do you know that scene in Batman where he takes the bad guy back to Gotham by attaching a balloon to him, and then the plane flies by, snags the rope, and flies off with him? Please put that into a video game. Yeah, I was like, yeah, the Fulton surface-to-air recovery system, pretty dapper. Could be to cache in sample containers. I like it. I like it also. This is from Metal Gear Solid as well, if you played Metal Gear Solid recently. Yeah, the Fulton is, it was, I think it was a CIA designed method of extracting people out of bad areas by just flying over with a plane. But basically, it would like yank you back up into the air. It was like a reverse parachute, I guess, in some ways. But yeah, it would be pretty cool. But I do like the idea of caching in samples mid-mission. That's actually a cool mechanic. And, you know, making the decision of, do I want to take an offensive stratagem, or do I want to take a stratagem that might allow me to get some samples out mid-mission, especially if it's a harder difficulty. That could be really cool. Bigger strafe run, complete with A10 audio. And he says, yeah, the audio doesn't have the right because it doesn't. But this would be insane. I mean, an A10 strike would be great. Also, I think you would need to... Well, no, you could just attach this to the front of the Eagle, I guess. Just have a minigun on the front of it. It almost kind of looks like it's got that anyway, although maybe I'm just losing my mind. Maybe it doesn't. But yeah, this would be sick. Because the thing is, we've kind of got this in the game anyway. You've got like the Gatling cannon strike, and you've got the Eagle... I forget what it's called, but the Eagle comes down and fires kind of like a Gatling burst as well, doesn't it? Which is on very low cooldown and comes in very fast, and is okay at destroying groups of lightly armored enemies. It's better against bugs. but it's kind of a bit weak. I think a heavier version of that would be pretty cool, especially if it comes down like a massive horizontal line and just like an A10. Although the A10 doesn't fire for very long, does it? But it does incredible amounts of damage. I don't know if it has to be an Eagle Strike, but something to deny enemies from reinforcing for like a minute or two would be very strategically useful. It's this cool idea, like a Disruption Beacon, similar to what the bots have. And I'm gonna be the I'm gonna go against this. No, this would be bad, because actually you want enemies in the game, because that's what makes the game good. You know, you want to be those moments where the dropships come in and there's loads of them dropping bots off. You kind of want to get ready for that, and you want to try and blow the dropships up, because sometimes it will kill the bots and kill stuff below. Sometimes it won't, but whatever. That's Helldivers 2 for you. But you want to fight bots, don't you? You want to fight enemies. You want to be swamped by enemies. So something that stops the enemies spawning. I think the way of this kind of idea being placed into the game is kind of down the line of the shield generator that we've got. You know, when you place it on the floor, generates a big shield dome. Although that seems a little bit bugged with the plasma weapon, if my last video is ended to go by, but whatever. That thing that allows you to have the enemies all around you, but it protects you from the enemies for a brief period, but you can still interact with them, and I think that's the key thing. Whereas this, yeah, I wouldn't really be a fan of this. But what I will say is they absolutely need to get rid of that AA stratagem blocker, which is on bot missions. It is frigging terrible. It's horrible. Also, just the disruption thing in mission as well. I'm not a big fan of that either. This guy apparently took over as the CEO. He says Shockwave Bomb, low damage, huge shockwave that pushes everything, or a tungsten bomb, pelts the area with tungsten balls, shreds unarmored targets. And then he's like, look at this guy. Oh, so that's a no $65 horse mount then. When I laugh, when it's text, it sounds so strange and cringe, but whatever. Wouldn't it be funny to release that in the Superstore? Horse barding decorative from old Earth. Would people actually buy that shit? No, they wouldn't. Don't add it to the game. Okay, so I did say I'd end with a bit of this, and I'm not going to play all of this, and I'm going to talk all over Johan here. In fact, I'm just going to mute him. But go and watch this. I implore you to go and watch this. It gives you a lot of background info on the way they developed the game and how long it took to develop the game, over 7 years to actually make Helldivers 2. He actually explains why that was. You know, maybe their development process wasn't the most streamlined, but maybe that's why the game ended up being as good as it is. Obviously, now they're moving into a new sort of phase with the game and trying to fix the weapon balance and get everything else sorted and keep the game going. Honestly, it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with, but I definitely recommend you go and watch this video, because it really does get you into the mindset of one of the leading figures of the studio. In fact, the leader of the studio up until literally the other day, but is definitely the person behind Helldivers 2, and it's really good. Honestly, is a really, really good watch. Alright guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I've been Stylosa. Remember, really liking this video and subscribing to the channel helps an absolute ton with the YouTube algo. Means a lot to me as well that you guys still enjoy my videos and all of that, because I mean, I've been doing this for a long time now. I can understand when Johan's like, yeah, we've been making the game for nearly 7-8 years. I'm like, yeah, I think I've been on YouTube making videos for like 9 years now. Oh dear. Oh no, I'm getting old. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and yeah, I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. See you soon.